Well, it's a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on Friday afternoon. I was meant to do this at lunchtime, but I didn't have time, unfortunately. So here I am doing an impromptu preview at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And I hope you're all doing well. There will be another show on later today. The late show, the Friday late show, is back with myself and Nigel. So I hope you join me for that as well. But this is just a review or a preview, of the game coming up against Bournemouth this coming Saturday. Now, I don't know how many of you are looking forward to it. I guess the last few games West Ham United have played have not necessarily been impressive, to say the least. I guess that's a bit of an understatement, I suppose. It's not been good, has it? But you know me, I try always to look for positives, but even I have found difficulty in finding positives in some of the performances over the past few weeks. Now, I mean, we're already hearing, aren't we, that some fans want Graham Potter out. I mean, come on, people. Let's talk about that tonight then. But let's focus on Bournemouth. So, with the Bournemouth manager, Anthony Iraola, providing updates that both Ryan Christie and this season's top goal scorer, or Bournemouth's top goal scorer, Justin Kluivert, are likely to miss the game against West Ham this weekend, we should be rubbing our hands together, thinking that perhaps we should stand a very good chance of beating Bournemouth at the London Stadium this coming Saturday. But life is not that simple, is it? And the London Stadium is far from being a fortress where West Ham can host even a team depleted by injuries to assure fans of delivering a win. Our last game there was on the 10th of March against Newcastle, where we lost 1-0. And our last win there was on the 27th of February against Leicester, when we beat them 2-0. Now, neither performance is good, and at least we have some solace we have had some solace to better performances away from home this season. However, even our recent away performances of late have not been that much better. Last Tuesday saw us put in yet another poor display, this time away to Wolves. And since Graham Potter's arrival, in 11 games throughout all competitions, we've won just 3 games. Many say that the win over Fulham was somewhat lucky. The win over Leicester was somewhat lackluster. I guess many fans expected us, for some reason, to smash Leicester by half a dozen goals at home. And of the 11 games, the performances that kind of stand out are the 2 against Aston Villa, the game against Chelsea, and the game against Arsenal. All those games away from home. However, of those 4 games, we've won just 1 of them, with 1 draw and 2 defeats. And it seems that, yet again, we seem to raise our game against top table sides, but we seem to struggle to impress or even win against sides in the lower half of the table. We used to blame this on David Moyes, let's not forget. We used to always say that for some reason, the teams around us and the teams below us were the teams that we couldn't beat, and the teams above us, we always seem to find, I don't know, an extra gear. But it seems to be a West Ham thing rather than just a David Moyes thing. So what do we expect against Bournemouth this coming Saturday? It's a tough call. Apart from beating Wolves on penalties in the FA Cup, Bournemouth's last league win was against Southampton, even before our last league win, which was on the 15th of February. Since then, they've gone through a pretty bad spell where they've lost 5 games and they've drawn 1. Enter West Ham United to get them back to winning ways then. It's always the way, isn't it? It always seems to happen. Teams have a bad run and then they realign themselves when they face us. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen on Saturday. However, despite this lull in results, Bournemouth have still got something to play for this season, where despite lying 10th in the league, they have enough points to play for to still try and get themselves into a European spot by the end of the season. West Ham, however, have nothing to play for, and one has to hope that pride, at least, is enough to get this team on the front foot on Saturday. Now, Bournemouth do have one or two potential injury issues. Justin Kluivert, who indeed would be a massive miss to Bournemouth, who scored 13 goals in all competitions this season with 8 assists. If he's missing, he would be a big loss. The 25-year-old attacking midfielder has proved to be a bargain for the £8-9 million that Bournemouth paid for him nearly 2 years ago. If he is missing on Saturday, then would Bournemouth struggle? I'm not so sure. They've also got defensive midfielder Ryan Christie, Scottish international, of course, who's also likely to miss the game through injury as well. Now, there are other absentees as well, like, for example, Luis Sinisterra and striker Enes Unal, who scored that stunning free kick in the dying minutes of the game to earn Bournemouth a draw against us when we played them back in December. But Bournemouth are not shy of dangerous attacking players. Of course, they've got Brazilian Evan Nilsson, who they bought from Porto for around about £34 million in the summer. He's notched up 9 goals and 4 assists in all competitions this season. And he's a big target man who's going to clearly cause West Ham's defence a lot of problems. And then, of course, there's Antoine Semedo is another very decent attacking player who's also got 9 goals this season and with 6 assists in all competitions. And if that's not enough, they've also got Dango Utara, who's also scored 9 goals and 4 assists. But their top assist creator is left back Milos Kerkez, who marauds forward at every opportunity, and he's got 5 assists already this season. So they're not short of players that can not only create goals and can also score as well. I guess Bournemouth are what every West Ham fan want West Ham to be on the playing field at this moment in time. They're very attack-minded, they're very adventurous, and they can be very exciting to watch. Iraola primarily plays a 4-3-3 formation, which quickly morphs into a 4-5-1 formation, getting men forward quickly into the opposition's 18-yard box, flooding that box to create as many. Well, you can see they've got many players who create chances and many players who can score. And it's going to be interesting to see how Potter decides to combat this. Will he go the same? Will he go with a 4-3-3 formation? The whole concept of Graham Potter's lineup against Wolves kind of leaves me somewhat baffled. And I did suggest after the game that perhaps he was trying to appease the fan base by giving the likes of Luis Guilherme and Evan Ferguson some game time. But I wonder if there was a more pragmatic reason as to his team selections. He did mention in his press conference that there were 1 or 2 niggles after the international break, which may have suggested why the likes of Edson Alvarez and Thomas Soucek didn't start the game. We also heard that Jean-Clair Todibo and Mohammed Kudus picked up knocks and illnesses, respectively. But both players are expected to be available for the game this coming Saturday. So I kind of see wholesale changes being made to the starting lineup. Let's reflect on that lineup against Bournemouth. Let's go back. Sorry, against Wolves, my mistake. We played 3 at the back. I know a lot of fans don't like 3 at the back, but you can be an exciting 3 at the back if you play a 3-4, a 3-5, 3-4-3, a 3-5-2 formation. But many suggested it was too defensive-minded against Wolves, and we afforded them too much space. So he had the Mavropanos there and Creswell to play alongside Kilman at the back. And then he had James Ward-Prowse with Paqueta in the middle. And then he had that kind of front 3, Bowen, Guilherme and Ferguson. I don't think it's going to be anything like that on Saturday. And I think we'd see anything up to about 5 changes. And I do think he's actually going to try and match Iraola and go with a 4-3-3 formation, or as near as damn it. I think Emerson will come in, which means that Ollie Scholes will drop to the bench. And I think Todibo will come back in as well. So you'll see Creswell, Mavropanos and Scholes drop out from the defence. And he'll go with a back 4 with Wan-Bissaka on the right, Todibo and Kilman in the middle, and Emerson on the left. Now, it's really weird, the whole thing about Emerson and Scarles. We were elated, weren't we, when Graham Potter came to the club and started giving Ollie Scarles game time. Everyone was cock a hoop, and now we're hearing from fans. I don't know if it's the same fans or not. Now we're hearing from fans, what's happened to Emerson? Scarles is just not experienced enough, and we should be playing Emerson. We can't have it both ways, people. We either want our youngsters to thrive and get into the senior team, or we don't. Now, I'm actually picking Emerson because I've said this before. When we play at 5 at the back or like a wing-back system, then you can almost afford Scarles being in the team because you've got that cover with the left-sided centre-back. But when Graham Potter decides to go with a back 4, I think he'll bring in the more experienced Emerson, which is why I think Emerson will start. And then in the middle, like I said, I don't think Guilherme will play. And I think James Ward-Prowse will get dropped from this game as well. He didn't have a bad game against Wolves on Tuesday, but many people say he's quite slow. Now, I don't know what you think of that midfield 3, Souček, Alvarez and Paqueta. I think Alvarez will kind of sit and will allow the likes of Souček and Paqueta to get more forward. A bit like what Iraola does, where he'll have a pivot, one in the middle, and allow his midfielders to go further forward to help the front 3. And it's quite possible that Potter may do the same against Bournemouth, because we know that's the way Iraola will play. And then the 3 at the front, I think Kudus will be back, and my understanding is that he will be back. And I think, interestingly, Niclas Fullkrug will lead the line on Saturday. I think Ferguson. Look, many people are suggesting that the chance that was created for him by Bowen was just behind him, and fair enough. But with the greatest of respect to him, I don't think he did much more than that in the game. He had that one chance. Okay, it may have been just behind him, but apart from that, he wasn't a force up front. He didn't feel like he was threatening the defense of Wolves at any time. Interestingly, when Fullkrug came on, he was much better. We looked better up front, and he was part of that. I mean, he created the chance for Souček, didn't he? That cheeky back flick for Souček, which, okay, perhaps Souček should have scored from that. But I think it'll be Fullkrug that's going to lead the line on Saturday, and hence there's going to be wholesale changes. I think Souček will be back in. I think Alvarez will be back in. I think Fullkrug will be in. Mohammed, Kudus. That's 4 changes already, and then Emerson and Todibo. So that's 6 changes in all. That's quite a lot of changes. But when you look at what was done, the starting lineup on Tuesday against Wolves, it was, I don't know. I don't blame Scarles. I think Scarles had a decent game. I think Creswell didn't have too bad a game either. I think James Ward-Prowse didn't have too bad a game. But like I said, I think we need something different in the middle. And maybe Alvarez will be the pivot to allow the likes of Souček and Paqueta to get further forward. And I've already mentioned about Guilherme. And I know a lot of people were suggesting that, well, hang on a minute, you're being unfair on Guilherme. When I came out of the game, it was instant reaction to what I saw. And I didn't see enough of Guilherme. And I know he was kind of played out of position. I get that. You know, he's primarily on the right side. He's another winger that cuts in onto his left foot, etc. So asking him to play on that left side, I kind of, yeah, okay, a little bit out of position. But I allude to what we saw in training last week before the Wolves game, that we saw Kudus in that position, that kind of like an inside right position, who was getting the ball, and he was in the training sessions, he was getting the ball and crossing them into the box. And I think that's what will happen on Saturday. I think Kudus won't be asked to play out wide. And I'm not so sure Bowen will be asked to play out wide either. I think what you'll see Emerson and you'll see Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming forward, giving that width. So the likes of Kudus and Bowen would sort of cut in to help the Fullkrug. And you'll have probably Alvarez sitting just a little bit further back when our right backs and full backs go forward in order to afford Todibo and Kilman a little bit more sort of protection there should we lose the ball. So that's how I think it's going to line up. I think I don't know. I could be wrong, could be completely wrong, but that's my gut. From what I know, from what I understand, from players back from injury, etc., that's likely to be the lineup. What do I expect from this game? I genuinely don't know. The one thing I do know is I think the atmosphere is going to be pretty poor. It's been poor for some time. It's been not great. You know, I kind of hope the last game that we played was the game against Newcastle evening match. And I thought fans will be up for that, but fans were leaving early. And we've already had this discussion about fans leaving early. I'm not, holding it against fans personally. I wouldn't, but I know fans, especially on an evening game, have to leave early to get the train home. There's no excuse for that on Saturday. It's a 3:00 kickoff. And I'm not expecting any fan to leave early. I'm really, really hoping that fans stay there and hoping that there's something actually on the pitch to cheer on and for us to be in this game and for us to get a win with the fans backing. I don't know. Look, I can't go for a draw or a defeat. It's at home. I want us to win. I know when I think about the number of games that Bournemouth have lost over the past few weeks, it's not been great. Like I said, their last win was way back in February when they beat Southampton, and since they've lost to a number of teams that we've lost to as well. So I'm going for a win. I do think Bournemouth will score, so we're going to have to score more than them. And I'm hoping that we come away with this with a 2-1 win. And I'm hoping it's going to be an entertaining game with that sort of lineup with a 4-3-3. You can make that whatever you want. You can make that a 4-3-3, a 4-2. You can change that to a 4-2-3-1. You can change it to a 4-5-1, whatever you want. But I think it's going to be that kind of lineup tomorrow. I think Souček and Alvarez will be back in, Todibo and Emerson back in defence with Fullkrug leading the line and Kudus. This could be this should be an exciting team. Emerson likes going forward. Wan-Bissaka likes going forward. Souček likes the odd goal or two here and there. Paqueta had an all right game against Wolves, but things didn't come off for him. But he was all right. Bowen had a very quiet game against Wolves on Tuesday. So I expect a lot more from him. I expect Kudus to be, I want Kudus to be all singing, all dancing, and hope this is the game for him where he perhaps gets a goal, to sort of lift his spirits. And I would actually like Niclas Fullkrug to get a goal as well. Right. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's go all the way up. Eltel, good afternoon to you, mate. Look at the foul. No different from Tarkowski foul. I don't know which one. I haven't watched a lot of football. I try not, and I know, so I don't know what you're talking about. I know it was the Everton game, of course. Joey, good afternoon to you. Hearing news of maybe moving on Souček, Paqueta, Kudus and Alvarez that might earn over £250 million optimistically. Would you be confident the right players would be found to replace them? Confident in the fact that we've got the likes of Carl McCauley who can find a gem or two. But I don't think all four of those players will go, to be quite honest with you. Yes, they're all been linked. I did a show only the other day where I said up to 20 of our 28 players in the squad, and that includes the 3 players that we have out on loan at the moment, 25 of the 28 players that we have in the squad are all rumoured to be leaving West Ham. Clearly, we're not going to lose all of those players. So I don't think that we're going to lose all 4 of those. I can't tell you. Of those 4, my suggestion the other night was that I think Paqueta is the likely player to move on. Could be 1 or 2 more. Let's see. Stephen, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Stephen again, hope Graham Potter starts Fullkrug up front at the weekend and we get 3 points as well. I think that's quite possible. Martin, good afternoon to you, mate. Nigel, good afternoon. FC Porto bidding 18 million euros for Luis Guilherme. Well, there's been a lot of rumour, hasn't there, about Luis Guilherme. There was rumour that clubs in Europe and in Brazil were after him. and it was Graham Potter who put a stop to it. Maybe he's changed his mind now that he's kind of maybe seen a bit more of him. Maybe he'll decide to sell him. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Usual, good afternoon to you. West Ham 2-1, Bournemouth 11-10, the draw 12-5. Angus, good afternoon. If we have a target man up front, then won't we also need an advanced players on the left and right to provide balls in? Well, tell me what you think of the formation that I suggested. If yes, won't that stretch our not so speedy midfield, especially if we have 5 at the back? I've got a gut feeling that we're going to go with 4 at the back on Saturday, which may address the concerns that you have there, Angus. Good points. So if we do go 4 at the back, like I've said, I think Wan-Bissaka and Emerson will give us the width. Alvarez will drop to sort of support the defense just in case we lose the ball. And then you've got the likes of Souček, Paqueta, Kudus and Bowen supporting Fullkrug up front. Tell me what you think of that. Michael, good afternoon to you. Heard new stadium owners wonder if we get a better experience. Not at all. They're not new stadium owners. They've just changed name. I know, I've seen it, and I spoke about it quite a while ago that LLDC were forming into a new setup. Then it's not different. You know, I think they've got a new chairman or something like that, or a new director or whatever it is. But it's going to be probably much of the same, Michael, I'm afraid. Leon, good afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Michael, 10 at the back, nothing in attack. Christine, good afternoon. I hope you're well. We do need a win. But then what's worrying is the Bournemouth as well. Mounstar, good afternoon, mate. Bournemouth are unsettled at the moment because Tottenham want their manager. I'm not surprised that they want their manager. And I do wonder, Sullivan didn't necessarily want to give Graham Potter a long-term contract. Only wanted to offer him a 6-month contract initially. And there was a lot of talk in the background that he was kind of hoping and maybe wishing that we could attract Iraola at West Ham United. Iraola, I probably pronounced that wrongly, the lowest paid manager in the Premier League, £1 million a year. He's getting paid at this moment in time. I think they're trying to, I don't know if he's signed a new deal yet, but I know he's in the last year of his contract. And now I'm wondering if they're trying to persuade him. Well, of course you try and persuade him to stay on, wouldn't you? Usual, Cunha never played for Wolves, didn't make an ounce of difference. No, he didn't. But then I did suggest Strand Larsen. Did I say Cunha? I didn't say Cunha, did I? Strand Larsen, I said, was another danger player. And this is the same. We got the same situation with Kluivert. Let me get that off. This is the same situation that we've got with Kluivert. You know, he scored a lot of goals this season, etc. A bit like a focal point like Cunha for Wolves. But the difference between Bournemouth and Wolves is Wolves rely mainly on Cunha and then Strand Larsen, whereas Bournemouth have got a number of players that are very capable of scoring goals. Michael, Kudus buyout clauses first 2 weeks of July, 80 million. To Europe club, 85 million to Premier League club, 120 million to Saudi club. I know there's a lot of talk going on at the moment, and a lot of people are trying to get in there first, trying to tell you what it is and what it isn't. My understanding is it's 85 million. This whole thing about Saudi clubs is quite a new one, which only materialized the other day. Let's see. Highest, good afternoon. I hope you're well. He plays a 4-2-3-1, not a 4-3-3. We don't know. Let's see what happens on Saturday. It's possible that Potter may want to match the 4-3-3. Oh, you saying that's Bournemouth player 4-2-3-1? Well, not according to the sources I've been reading, and I do read an awful lot about some of the opposing managers as much as I can before each game. But I don't know, you might be right there, Highest. Michael, our midfield is like the Red Sea. It's that slow. Well, it parts, doesn't it? Peter, Bournemouth still have plenty to cause us. Absolutely, they do. As I've mentioned already, there's a number of players. Like I said, they got Kirkes. He's made 5 assists this season on the left side. Antoine Semenyo scored 9 goals. Evan Nilsson, he scored 7 goals. They've got quite a few players that can absolutely cause us problems. Highest, why do you all hesitate to put Kudus in his natural position? I'm not the manager. This is all I can tell you is my understanding of how it will be. If it was me, yes, absolutely, I would play him in a number 10 position. And it's very possible It's very possible we could play a 4-2-3-1 position formation where you might have the likes of Souček and Alvarez in the middle. You might have Paqueta slightly on the left, Bowen slightly on the right, and Kudus in the middle. I think what's interesting about our lineups, our team, is this should be a fluid team. You will likely see Kudus interchanging with Bowen when needed. You will likely see Paqueta getting further forward, etc. So it's a fluid team. You know, they're not, because it's that formation, doesn't mean they're stuck in that formation. Peter, Bournemouth had about 8 or 9 players out when they stuffed Newcastle 4-1 away from home. Dangerous team, absolutely. Tacticus, good afternoon. Tacticus Kilgore. JWP had a horrid game, a real striker, a real stinker. In a bad team, he wasn't, he was all right-ish, but slow. I had a JWP in the loo. Usual. The team looks fantastic on paper, but that's as far as it goes football-wise. Unfortunately, usual, you're right there. Peter, Potter won't change his ways of playing next season. I don't know about that. I really honestly don't. I know there's a lot of negative. I won't lie, people. I won't lie. You know what I'm like. I try to look at the positives as much as I can. And it's difficult to be positive when we're playing badly consistently. But this whole thing about getting Potter out. And in all honesty, Peter, I'm not having a go at you, but in all honesty, we don't know if he's going to play the same next season because there's going to be quite a few changes to that squad in the summer. And then let's see what happens there. Peter, we're likely to finish 17th, possibly. Yeah. Juha, does it matter? Not really in the grand scheme of things. Well, I wish we play plenty of academy players next year. So we'll be tough. I don't know. I don't think many academy players are going to come through. I mentioned this already when I was looking at the squad as to who may stay and who may go. And I know a lot of fans want an awful lot of academy players to play. I don't think. I think we're going to see Freddie Potts. It's clearly we'll keep Ollie Scarles in the squad. That might be our lot. George Earthy is getting game time here and there for Bristol City, not regularly. The other players, Callum Marshall's playing well for Huddersfield, but I think he'll be sent out on loan to a championship team next season rather than coming in to compete for a place in the senior squad. Leon, we have to go for it. 2-1 to West Ham. Peter, is it true we are paying a large loan fee for Ferguson? We're paying his salary, more or less, which is about £40,000 a week. So no, it's not true that we're paying a large loan fee. Juha, problem is we're going for it against Bournemouth. Is they usually score on a counter attack, and they are not the best on fast attacks, and we are not the best on fast attacks. Darren, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. 3-1 to Bournemouth. Anthony, good afternoon to you. I hope you're well. Avid, good afternoon, mate. Really think we need to switch to a back 4, get the best out of Bowen to help the midfield. That's what I've suggested. It's very possible that we could be going with a back 4 tomorrow. So let's see what happens there. Who else have we got? Leon. All we will be left with is the tea lady. Well, this is why, when you hear this player's being sold, that definitely play. Like I said in the show that I did about which players might be leaving, 25 of 28 have been linked to move away in the summer. Clearly, that's not going to happen. Trodge, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Tacticus, please, no Guido in the squad. Useless, put Orford in. Well, he's not in the squad. I've not even got him on the bench. So on the left-hand side, you can see what the bench is likely to be. Fabianski in goal. And I've got Mavropanos on the bench with Soufal, Creswell with Scarles, and then you've got Soler, Ward-Prowse, Guilherme, and Ferguson on. That's my bench for tomorrow. Good evening to you, Peter. I hope you're well, Peter. Looking forward to a brace from Fullkrug would be nice. 4-4-2, I doubt it very much. 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, quite possibly. Angus, I like your formation with 4 at the back. I think that's what will happen. I cannot see after what happened in the last game. I kind of get why Potter has gone with a 5 at the back. I know we've had to shore up the defence. We've needed to. But what was interesting in the early games the ones that I mentioned earlier, when we played against Chelsea, Arsenal, and Aston Villa twice, is we had three at the back more or less there, but we were kind of more of an attack-minded, like a 3-4-3 formation or a 3-5-2 formation. And I like that. I don't mind having three at the back. I don't mind having five at the back when we're having to defend, but let's get those players forward. Look, and fair play to Wolves, by the way. They did a really good job on us on Tuesday night. They stopped the likes of Wan-Bissaka hardly got forward on Tuesday, just the odd occasion. So they actually did a good job on us as well. Peter, under 21s playing Crystal Palace tonight on YouTube. It is indeed. Matt, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Peter, VAR is poor again, getting some decisions wrong and taking too long. I've heard there was a few dodgy decisions in some of the games during the week, if that's correct. Kevin, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Let's be positive. The sun is shining. Absolutely. I've got blinds drawn so I can do the show, but as soon as I'm finished, I'm back on the vino. Yeah, wine. Well, me and the missus having wine. Yeah, I know. Avid, Bournemouth hasn't won in 7 games. We all know what's coming. I really hope I'm wrong, but it's just so West Ham to hand them a win and a break. Yeah, that's exactly what I said earlier on. Peter, we'll be known as Rebuild United for the next week. We've been rebuilding for the last 3 or 4 summers already. It's quite tragic that we've been left in this position, that we don't have or a lot of other teams, Bournemouth and Brighton and all these other teams, they built and now they're tweaking. We're having to continuously rebuild. Tacticus, how does he even get by it just on £1 million? I know, tough life, eh? Trudge, Kirkus to destroy us for not signing him. He was a player that he was linked to us. Anthony, has Kudus got 2 buyout clauses on? This is what people are saying. I don't know. There's a buyout clause. Apparently, someone mentioned there's 3. 80 million for this, 85 million for that, 120 million. I don't know is the honest answer. I think what people are misinterpreting is 120 million euros is what? 85, 90 million euros? 90 million pounds, give or take? Maybe that's what people are confusing. People are putting the 2 and 2 together and coming up with a load of crap sometimes. Ray, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Matt, opinions on the Tarkowski tackle? In my opinion, that was beautiful to see. Missed tackles like that. I didn't see it, so I don't have an opinion. Tacticus, love Tarkowski's tackle. Matt, cheers to you as well. Was on the ball. Matt, I hate soft, weak men saying it was horrible, it's disgusting, blah, blah. Weak waste. I think, Matt, you quite like that Tarkowski challenge then. Peter, 4 at the back, sod all in attack. You just know we won't be any good altogether. Come on, mate. You never know. We might turn up tomorrow. Tackles in the Premier League gone down 30% this season, but yellow cards gone up. There you go, Trudge. What does that say? The game's gone soft. Usual. If you'd done that in the streets, it would have got 18 months. Was it that bad? I have to look at it. Darren, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I can't see us beating Bournemouth. We are going to struggle like we did against Wolves. Let's hope you're wrong, mate. Let's hope you're wrong. Peter, if we carry on losing and only win against Southampton, what will happen? It will be a crap end to the season, to be quite honest with you. I put Irvin in place of Souček. No, I wouldn't, to be honest with you. Stephen, what do you think the score will be? I think it'll be 2-1 to us, to be honest. Peter, Fullkrug to attempt a run and I hope not. He looked, actually, let's give him credit where credit's due. He looked okay against Wolves on Tuesday night. Trudge, everyone was linked with our cheap options. He wasn't Kirker. It wasn't that expensive either. I'd play Irvin instead of Ward-Prowse. He was poor. He seemed more bothered about his free kick record than anything else. He's putting too much pressure on himself. Good point, that. Trudge, and soon as someone else bids, we withdraw. Yeah. Peter, we are linked with the awful Lindelof, mainly because he is a free transfer, which is why you shouldn't listen to those rumours. Because we've got a new manager, a new head coach with Carl McCauley, who won't be looking at. They'll get maybe one player if they think they need an experienced hand somewhere. But in general, they're known for going out and getting almost complete unknowns from other leagues, young players who they morph into decent players who they sell for huge amounts of money. Highest. West Ham focused on possession so much that they forget things in which they were one of the best at. Things like scoring on counters and also set pieces. They used to be one of the strongest in there. You're absolutely right, Highest. That's a really good point. We were very good at that. I wonder which manager we were really good at that under. Oh, yeah. He manages Everton right now. Darren, hope Fullkrug starts. He'd done more in the second half than Ferguson did in the first. Darren, I'd rather play 4-4-2. I don't want Ings. No way. But no disrespect. I said that in a very disrespectful way. But no, I don't want Ings in there. I'd rather have Ferguson up front with Fullkrug, but I don't think that'll happen. John, good evening to you, mate. Hit the like button. Yes, thank you. It does help the channel. If you're new to the channel and you've yet to subscribe, then do subscribe. It costs nothing to subscribe, and it costs nothing for the content to watch as well. But please hit the like button. It really does help. Thank you for that, mate. It really does help the channel. So far, Trudge, the pattern I see is with normal service resumed, low balling. Is it? I don't know. If rumors are true, we should bid 75 million euros for Osimhen. Yeah, no, we won't be buying a player at that price, and that is the honest truth. So forget the rumors. Avids really want us to be positive about Potter, but after seeing Brighton score 40 in his third season and recent performances, he has me worried. I'm sure we'll be better next year, but boring and low scoring. Let's see what happens next season. Peter, interesting to see you don't share the same fashion sense as your mate with the colourful shirts on. God, no. Yeah, that's for Wiggy to do. That's for David Wigram to do, not for me. Rowley, good afternoon, mate. Been missing in action for a while, has needed a break from West Ham misery. Back Saturday, come on your eye. Good to see you back, Rowley, and thank you for watching and commenting, mate. Highest question, Stel. Have you been a teacher before, or are you a teacher? No, I haven't, and no, I'm not. Why do you say that's in it? I want to know why you're asking that, Highest. Explain yourself, sir. Kevin, I think, Stel, we missed Somerville for the attacking option. We absolutely do. You look at the way we were set up against Aston Villa in the first game, and it's such a shame. Somerville was by far our best player. You can see, I can see a vision of what Potter wants, and it's a player like Somerville that will be the player he wants. I think we will get probably another midfielder who's going to have that same vigor, that same pace as Somerville does in the middle of the park in the summer. It's going to be very interesting to see the kind of players that he goes and buys. You're absolutely right, Kevin. Peter, how much was your T-shirt and where did you buy it from? It's Trojan, and I think it was limited edition because I can't find it again anywhere else. And it was only about 30 quid. I was very lucky. People have looked online for this, and they I don't know why do Trojan do that? They make some really nice T-shirts, but they only make a handful of them. But I've been very lucky, very lucky. Michael, a player makes a mistake, they get fined, red card, etc. Refs make mistakes, nothing. They need refs to be accountable. Maybe they would be better refs. They used to drop them down to the lower leagues, didn't they? But I don't know if they do that anymore. Tacticus, Lindelof pretty good on the ball, though Potter might like. Yeah, I'm not dismissing it. But what does Lindelof play? He's a centre back, isn't he? Better than Mavropanos? Maybe he is. Darren Stelios, is Ings your hammer of the? Oh my God, mate. Trudge, it's the players all constantly cheating and tactically fouling, making refs' life harder. Don't happen in Premier League too. It's a really good point. Peter, did I see something the other day that Pep would be interested in Pac-Man if found not guilty? You know those rumors. Apparently so, according to the rumors. But let's see if that's realistic. Leon, 100% agree, Michael. Fine the refs if they make obvious mistakes. Trudge, until they start giving out reds for play acting, nothing will change. That's a really good point as well. Michael, maybe Peter now, Kevin is leaving Man City. De Bruyne is leaving Man City, and maybe Paqueta could be his replacement. Foxes, it would be a geography teacher, the amount of holidays you have. I haven't been away for at least 2.5 weeks. What's wrong with you? Martin, I'm not the least bit confident we'll get anything out of tomorrow's game. Highest, you always start off like you're teaching, and it's not once. It's always so. I assume it's only teachers who do that. Plus, you kind of look like a teacher. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, Highest. Salamar, good afternoon to you. Evening to you. Would like Fullkrug and Emerson to start. See, some people have come in late, so I'm going to go back and repeat what I've said earlier on. Any news on Pac-Man? Nothing at all, Si, at this moment in time. Darren, Can you see Guilherme starting or coming on later in the second half? Possibly in the second half. Okay. To recap to all of those of you who've joined late. So my understanding is Kluivert is injured or is unlikely to be playing tomorrow. He's a big miss, but they have other players who can score goals. I'll get to that in a moment. Ryan Christie is also out, defending midfielder, pivot for that team in the middle. Who else have we got here? But they've got players that can score. Evan Nilsson, strong up front. Antoine de Semenyo, I've misspelled that, haven't I? Also good up in attack. And Kudus created 5 goals for Bournemouth this season. Players who I think are likely to start, I think Kudus is back in training, is my understanding, and I think he'll be starting the game on Saturday. I think Ferguson will be benched, and I think Fullkrug would lead the line. If we look at the team that started on Tuesday against Wolves, I can see wholesale changes being made here. We had a 5-2-3, a 5-3-2 formation, whatever it was on Tuesday, but it certainly didn't work. And I think a number of players will be dropped. Now, there were suggestions as to why, or there were questions, should I say, as to why certain players didn't start, like Souček, Alvarez, etc. Now, I did suggest after the game on Tuesday, when I did the immediate post-match review, that I thought that maybe Potter was trying to appease the fans by starting the likes of Guilherme and Ferguson. But I'm not so sure. Maybe it was more for pragmatic reasons. We heard that Kudus had dropped out in training, late on in training on Monday. So he possibly thought to himself, who have I got available that might do a similar Kudus job on that left side of attack? And I think I get the logic now in why he picked Guilherme to play that role. Didn't work, but I get the logic. And when it comes to Ferguson, I guess, after what he did in internationals, etc., scoring a goal, we thought maybe Ferguson deserved his chance. Now, I don't think we're going to see anything like that kind of lineup on Saturday. I do think he's going to go with a 4 at the back. I think he will match Iraola, and I know, Hayes, you said Iraola plays a 4-2-3-1. A lot of what I've read suggests he plays a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. He's got attacking players there, and when he goes forward, when his team goes forward, they sort of morph into a 4-4-1-5. To get all the midfielders forward and attacking. So I think we might try and match more or less what Iraola does. Go with 4 at the back. I think Todibo would come back. I've already explained. And I think Emerson would be favoured as the more experienced player with a 4 at the back rather than Scarles. And so you'll see the likes of Mavropanos and Creswell and Scarles benched. And then he'll bring in Souček and Alvarez. Now, the pragmatic thing that as to why they didn't start on Tuesday is maybe from the internationals, maybe Souček might have had a slight niggle maybe. And we know Alvarez was, had to fly back quite a long way. So maybe that's why he decided to bench those 2 players. And then up front, I think Kudus, my understanding, is back. And I think Fullkrug has kind of earned for his second half performance, he's kind of earned a starting lineup on Saturday. So that's what I think he'll play. Areola in goal, 4 at the back, Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, and Emerson. And then maybe a 3 in the middle, Souček, Alvarez, and Paqueta. And then 3 up front with Bowen, Fullkrug, and Kudus. I think that's what he'll do. I could be very, very wrong, but I think that's what he'll do. Who else have we got? Can you see Guilherme start? Well, maybe in the second half. Peter, the school connection still looks like the caretaker, Derek Tyler in Fenn Street. That is the worst yet. 2 up. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for the update. Thank you, mate, for joining. Good afternoon, Jason. I hope you're well. We are getting battered tomorrow. No, we're not. We've stopped being battered. But let's hope we win. Past caring site about results now. Trodge still needs a cane and mortarboard, a hat to control YouTube. Peter, Guilherme might as well play for the under-21s until the end of the season. Peter, come on, gentlemen, let's press that. Please do. Please press that thumbs, like button. Highest, I mean, teaching is a well-respected job. Plus, the only British movie I like is Mind Your Language. So it's a compliment. Thank you. I'll take it as one. Mark. Hello, mate. Still, the Spurs job is up for grabs. When Ange gets sacked, you're going to throw your hat into the ring? Fuck off. I'd rather I shouldn't swear. It's only 6 o'clock. What am I doing, Martin? I'm tired. I'm tired changing managers and hope Potter can bring in decent players for next season and give us 25, 26 decent 25, 26 decent seasons. The 25, 26 a decent season. Let's face we've a lot of poor players right now. I don't disagree with that, to be honest with you. Peter, usual, yeah, couldn't think of his name, so you know his name now, whoever that was. John, think 3-1 to the Hammers. Let's hope so. Troj, Irving for Paqueta and Guilherme for Kudus, and I would be more interested on Saturday. Interesting, Troj, that you'd stick with. I think Kudus is due a good game, and it could finally be tomorrow. Highest to Troj. If anyone told me you would want Kudus starting, I would never believe them. Stel, are you back? I am back again tonight. By the way, people, there is a Friday late night. I've managed to get Nigel back on again after a long delay. So do come in for that. So on at 9:30. Look on my YouTube channel and click notification to let you know that I'm coming up tonight. Yes, I am coming up tonight with Nigel. Tacticus, he might go for 5 at the back for more cover on Semenyo and Evan Olsen. That wouldn't be, it's possible. That is possible. Jason, Todibo, Kilman, Creswell, Wan-Bissaka, Paqueta, Kudus, Alvarez, Skulls, Bowen, Fullkrug. I think that's the same. Todibo, Kilman. Oh, I haven't got Creswell. Wan-Bissaka, Paqueta, Kudus, Alvarez. Other than that, all the same. Surely a draw. Ionix, I don't know. Let's hope for a win. All right, people. That's it. Troj. Just feel like Irvin and Guilherme haven't had a proper run in the team. Paqueta and Kudus have. Yeah, get that all season and done nothing. I get that. I understand that. But I think I don't think he won't. I think he will start Paqueta and Kudus tomorrow, to be honest. Right. On tonight, 9:30 with Nigel. Obviously, the theme is going to be about Potter. We're already hearing fans suggesting that he should be sacked. Potter out. I mean, I cringe when I think about it. But let's give it a proper, decent debate. Of course, there'll be other things that we'll be talking about tonight as well, but that'll be the main theme. So do join me and Nigel at 9:30 for that, the live show, the Friday late night. And until then, everyone, have a good rest of the day. Go out and enjoy that sun. What are you all doing sitting here in the dark watching me? Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for commenting, and see you all tonight.